welcome to World Today on DD India. We continue to track Dr. Srimal, Fernando. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on DD India.
Spiraling into different formats. One is the debt crisis also, and the inflation going up to 18.7% last month has created enormous uncomfortability to the citizens. India's neighborhood first policy, this is the key that changed everything. Supplying of 270,000 metric tons of fuel, that includes diesel, petrol, all these oils have eased off, at least to a certain amount. It requires another 500 million. Policy is the key game changer in extending its monetary interim government to take care of the current situation. But these are things that are suggested in the parliament, as well as politically, as well as economically. There are certain steps being taken.
Being supplied to Sri Lanka, how is India seeing its friend in times of crisis?
It is very clear. If India was not there, no other country has come to help Sri Lanka in that form. With $1 billion credit line, with oil and all these things. Oil brings down the inflation of the country. At least there is some hope because of Indian $1 billion credit line under the neighborhood first policy. If another $1 billion comes from India, it eases off the next level of fuel consumption, all consumer goods and all. India's help is the key, whether this government stays or the caretaker government comes off, followed by this thing. So it's about citizens. So people of this country are really appreciative of the neighborhood first policy's extension of the $1 billion. Yeah, so that's all.
To Asia now, where Sri Lanka is in negotiations with China on debt restructuring. Faced with an economic crisis, the country hopes to find support from its creditors. Colombo has already highlighted the support it has received from organisations it owes, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank and others. Although Sri Lanka's external debt to China accounts for just 1/10 of all of its loans, Beijing has been criticised by the West for its role in the crisis. Among other major creditors are the IMF, the Asian Development Bank and Japan. Well, 2 weeks ago, Sri Lanka declared default on its external debt, a severe economic situation sparking protests, with many people. We discussed the talks between China and Sri Lanka with Dr. Srimal Fernando, a specialist in international relations.
Sri Lanka, as a small nation, plays a very significant part in its security dynamics, economic dynamics, as well as political interests in China's diplomatic interests in the one developing port cities and harbors, is a part of the One Belt initiative. Small islands like Sri Lanka, Maldives, Mauritius, Reunion Islands and Seychelles play a significant part. It was the ancient trade Far East as well as Northeast. 60% of global energy goes through this Indian Ocean, this stretch of islands, and Sri Lanka being part of that 5 islands.
This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Measures taken by the government to stabilize this economic situation in Sri Lanka?
This month, because Sri Lanka generates about 30% of its electricity from hydropower, and the rest 60% comes from thermal energy. So thermal energy and all petrol for transport, the annual bill is about $3.5 billion. So these are measures to bring about certain relief measures for the citizens in the coming weeks, and we are seeing the government authorities also negotiating with multilateral organizations and the IMF to bail out the country out of this problem. Shortages. 8 days ago, yes, sanction. Meanwhile, there's shortages as well as affected the daily life of the citizens. Further, small and medium businesses, which comprises around 50,000 small and medium businesses, are affected due to gas. 26% so far, slower than expected. The IMF to bring about stability and inclusive growth to the nation. This is the current unfolding situation from an economic point of view.
And can you give us some more insights on the